Alright. Start getting some things set up here. Check, check, check. Oh, that's good. You can't hear all the wild stuff happening behind me. My house, I guess I should say. Okay. Let's move agenda to over here. Yeah, now you can hear it in the background. How about now? Check, check, check. God, it's really quiet. How about now? Not too bad. Training site all together here. Let's close out of a few things. Let's close you. Let's close you. Go into team. Does that look? Why can't I? Weird. Weird, weird, weird. Okay. Just. I don't really need the camera going for anything, so stop camera. Let's close email. How about chat? Okay. right. Let's mute this for now. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Sounds like I'm coming through okay. You all can listen to the wonderful sounds of nature that I have coming in through my windows. Birds and lawnmowers, ground squirrels, oh my. I can hear the birds chirping away in my audio. Like you can't hear it through Teams, or can you hear it through the YouTube video? Oh, okay. I have you I have you muted right now anyway, so nobody can hear me talking to another person. The craziest the craziest wrong with me. Well, that's good because like I have two windows open. I can just hear birds galore outside. Well, I do see that people have tuned in now, and I hope everybody. Oh, Rich, I was just about to ask. Thank you very much. I was just about to ask. I can hear myself, but that usually doesn't say anything. But we'll give it a minute or so more because I say noon, but everybody like starts coming in at noon, and we'll give it a couple minutes just to let everybody um, filter in. And yes, good afternoon. Afternoon. Hello, Jean-Yves. Hmm. See, see, and I'm not self-conscious about it because I can't do I'm not going to close up the windows in this room because I'd roast with all my computer stuff in here. But yeah, they are loud. Um, gosh, a, we might fly through this. Like I always feel like we have a lot of stuff to talk about, but then I whip through it pretty quick, and then all of a sudden I've got 20 minutes left to fill, which for me isn't that difficult because I can talk. I'm a talker. So let me take a peek over here. Go back over to this one. Okay, so we'll get started into this. We've got a bit to chat about. I feel like we have a bit to chat about, but again, um, we may get through it all and have no questions or anything of that nature. So good afternoon, everybody. Hello, welcome to June. My name is Matt Goins with the WiscWeb team. This is our June Lunch and Learn. I am also joined by uh, um, my coworker, my counterpart, Jenna Clinner, who's also online. So she'll pipe in from time to time whenever the need arises. But this is our June Lunch and Learn. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on over the last month for us, we did have one of these in May. Did we have one of these in May? I don't remember now. The last time we were talking about some things that were coming up, and then a few things that have happened over the past few weeks, also just in general conversation. So let's go ahead and dive in. Change my scene here so you guys can all see the WiscWeb page there. Okay, so the first thing that we wanted to touch on this month is specifically the UW theme update that we did do. Um, oh, I don't know. I have my audio playing in another window so I can actually hear myself coming through, and I sound loud to me. So if anybody else is, I mean, make sure you have your YouTube audio turned all the way up. Just make sure that this guy right here is all the way turned up so that you can. Oh, look at the infinite windows happening. Sorry, the YouTube audio on there as well. Make sure that that is turned up as well, not just the audio on your computer itself. I'm not hearing anything. Yikes. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Last. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I play with different settings mainly because I'm a loud person, so I don't want to blow people's earbuds, eardrums, etc. Okay, so the first thing we are going to talk about was the UW theme update that we had go through last month. Primarily, it was just an update to do some faculty staff member changes for not only adding faculty staff members, but also the way that they're viewed when listing. So those of you who did not see, we've added some new functionalities to the faculty staff areas. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So if I click on add new, a second here, because I have a couple of add to this. So we can do, let's do first name, Nancy Charles, credentials, uncertain. Let's add an image. Go a little alt text to give people a description there. Email, you, phone number, all the things that you can do. Title. Address if you want to. This isn't new. This actually went in a couple iterations ago, but I did want to point it back out as well to people that we did add the ability for you to add a website URL as well as a website title. So, she's right in center. I'll just do English because that one's on top of my head. But anyways. You can put in any of that information there. You can have a biography. So, oh, I'm gonna, yeah, there we go, Phil. Thanks. Sorry. Oop. Grab a little bit of information here to throw into there. We can have some extra fields if we want. We can change the excerpt up if we want to there as well. But so the website title is new-ish, but what came in with this update also was one of the requests that we've gotten in the past, and one of the things that UW marketing has done with some of the customized UW theme sites that they've done in the past is they have research areas, and the research areas is just another way to categorize your faculty staff members. This will be particularly of note to those of you who are in academic program sites or in lab sites where you want to even further define like the areas that your staff, students, grad students, etc., might be in. So again, similar to faculty types, that also is a specific category. You'll notice that I have categories collapsed. When it comes to faculty staff members, I don't use the categories area at all. I only use faculty types, and now, of course, I'm going to start using um, the research areas as well. So, I could do leadership, and then I don't know, do writing. We'll add that as a new research area. And so we have that functionality now. So if I click publish, this will add her to that list. So now what I can do is if I go back up to pages and I edit my people page, I'll do this all fresh so that people can see that process as well. So if I go in and I add the faculty staff listing, there are a number of new things to clear out. So let's just call this staff listing. What do I want? All. How many columns? Let's say 4. We have the option to include filtering. So if you click on the checkbox, again, a number of other things will appear. I can change the title of that particular filter if I wanted to. So I might, filter by. So I should say. So I have fact staff type checked over here for the filter that I want to include. I can also check research, and then I get to add a title for each of these. So filter by faculty type and filter by research area. You could change that to whatever you want it to be, but there you go. So I'll start with above just to show it, all the various things that you can show. The other thing that is in here now is link to profile page. So this is one of the things in the past where people they have a number of faculty who have their own websites, not like this particular page that you've created, but their own website outside of whatever.wisc.edu. And you want to be able to link to that and to link to that easily. So um, there were there were a couple of options that you could have done here, which is um, you could have linked to I should say a few. You could have linked to the profile page and then had all that information on their profile page. We did have to add the option now to where you don't have to link to the profile page if you don't want to. You could show the biography and show the excerpt, and you could have put some of that information into the excerpt. You could have put some HTML content into the excerpt, linking off to a person's website if you so desired. We now have the ability to add the display for the faculty staff website. I'm going to take off show biography because I don't want to overwhelm anything. You now have the option to display website, which is that field that we have added and I just populated earlier there. So now we have these values, so I can click update. And once that loads, I will open it in a new tab. And here you'll see there is the website value showing up right there. But as you'll notice, none of these are clickable as they are in the default view because I've turned off that link to profile option. So again, just a different way and a different opportunity for you to do something. I mean, maybe a little more unique is probably not the right word, but just a little different with your faculty staff listing that you might want to show in that information. At the top, obviously, are the 2 filter types. So, law, if I wanted to, spirit, writing, leadership, again. And then obviously the search is always there. Should probably not. That's interesting. Mm. Are you seeing this, Jenna?
Yes. I'm trying to think.
I I am too. Do it five, they say.
If
Um, yeah.
I
So
reset,
obviously,
does that make a difference?
what's that?
Click the reset button. Does that make a difference? Over to the right, yeah.
Nope. Oh, that's
Huh.
interesting. Wonder if link to profile page if that's doing it. Hey
Oh,
guys,
it does. Yep. Yeah.
watch us troubleshoot live.
It is the link to profile page, I think.
Yep, it is that. Matthew has some thoughts on that. I mean that I will recommend that we fix that. Okay. So, anyways, that's there. Reset there. So then, just real quick, I'm going to bounce back over, set this to the left, just so you can see the other change that we made. One of the things was putting the listing to the left will allow you to choose multiples. So I could do writing and law. So that way I could see everybody who's there. Um, band and leadership. Everybody's there as well. So let me look real quick here. Other notes. Man, website title Euro. Oh, yeah, the other thing that we added, and this question came in a couple of times, not add new page, add new faculty staff here. No headshot there, etc. I will call myself staff. Update. We changed this so that now the uh, the silhouette or the non headshot or head profile image faculty staff members, it's just a generic silhouette now instead of Bucky Badger. It's just as a style choice now moving forward to just not have that branded image of Bucky Badger be something that's on every use of the UW theme. So there's that. Adrian, Matt, the left view, is that the only way to multi-select? That is the only way to multi-select. Yeah, the top view is drop down only. Because if you start to add in some of those multi-select options at the top, um, I think that could possibly become an accessibility issue with having to constantly click there, a usability issue to having to constantly click in the drop down to add multiples. But then if you add the checkboxes up there, you start to push things down. It's just a UX and usability type thing there. So you kept it simple there. Let's see. Update URL on filter option. Let me go back to edit my people page. We added this option as well, which is as these filters are selected. So if I go, staff and band, you'll notice up here at the top in the URL, in my address bar, the URL is updating based on the filters that I am choosing, which means if somebody reached out to you and said, "Can you send me a list of all the, faculty members who are specializing in neurobiology?" You might have a research area of neurobiology. You click on that, and you've got yourself a URL there to send out to people if you so desired. So, um, and again, thinking back to the presentation that Rich had given several months ago now on the QR codes things, these are things that could be used for QR codes. So, like if you are ever doing any sort of marketing, or you have some posters up or some things that you want to create quick and easy links to, here's the way to do it. So, notes. Link to profile page option, filter on the left side, line breaks. Oh, the line breaks for long email addresses. I don't know if I have any that are long. There you go. So instead of it getting weird up here, we just create a line break so that a full email address would show. Again, get some accessibility concerns there.
And for a screen reader, it'll read as one line.
Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, well, I suppose that's it. But yeah. And then let's see. Line breaks for long email. Oh yeah, I'd have it literally written in my notes to accommodate accessibility screen reader needs. Thank you. And then if you click on a name, another change that we made was faculty staff post pages, this type of thing here. It now lists first name, last name, instead of in the past, it would do last name, first name. So one thing that I do want to point out is if you have, go back to my staff page, edit this page. If you click off of the link to profile page, but you are still like going to link out to, a person's page, for example, please be aware of the fact that the linking to the profile page is only turning it off to be linked to here. All of these profile pages still do exist within your site, which means that they are things that are picked up by search engines when you are crawled. So, for example, I don't have the link there. Let me uncheck that link real quick, or check that real quick. So if I just wanted to be, oh, here's Bucky Badger, university mascot, you link to, bucky.wis.edu right there, but I don't have this linked as a profile page, this page still exists, which means if somebody were to search within my site search, this would still come up as one of the URLs that exists within my site. So I would recommend still adding a little bit of information here and adding a link off to a person's page and maybe just a quick hit bio of them, just so that you can improve the search engine optimization of your site. Even if you're linking off to something else, somebody else's personal page, that's fine, but I would still recommend filling this out a little bit to improve your own search engine optimization. Let's see. Oh, last thing about the theme update that we did was we added a little more accessibility information down in the footer, the learn more about accessibility at UW-Madison, which links off now to the new site accessible.wisc.edu. Again, we're just trying to make sure that our digital presence, our web presence is as accessible as possible so that everyone can engage with our websites, not just those with vision, those with hearing, etc. So you want to make sure that you are attending to your accessibility as best as possible, but we did add that little footer down there as well. Bing bong bong ba blue. Let's see. Okay. So that's the updates that came in through the last UW theme update. Any questions about that? Nobody has run into any bugs lately that I have seen in regards to the faculty staff list, so I'm very happy about that. Um, so I guess so in talking about theme updates and things of that ilk, we had tentatively scheduled a theme update for the 23rd. We are going to move that out a little bit because we are still trying to refine a few of the things to put into that theme update. And that one we're hoping to be like a very, I should say very big, a larger theme update with a little bit more stylistic options for people to be aware of. But we just need a little more time to finalize some of those things and, quite frankly, test some of those things as well. Which kind of leads me into the next topic, which is just a little update about the outage that we had run into last week, or the yeah, we were it was an outage. We were down. Um, so as I've said in previous lunch and learns, even though a lot of things aren't happening stylistically when we do some updates, we're doing a lot of work in the back end to make things easier for us to deploy things, easier for us to update things, and honestly to just make things more secure and more, I guess, developer slash admin friendly. We had been testing some things out in our dev and QA environments that were working just fine. We were testing, and then we got to deploying them, and as soon as they hit production, it wasn't working as we expected in production. And so that's what happened last week, where we updated a few things, we updated a few files that caused the issue of people not being able to log in to the WP admin area. Your sites were all still up. So thankfully, it wasn't an outage from a end user standpoint. Like your audiences could still see your sites and visit your site, but we couldn't log in. So we had to do some testing and some rolling back of some things that we had done. And so we're continuing to test some things to try and avoid that in the future. A lot of it is, production is our production environment is the beast that it is. We have well over 1,300 sites. We have thousands of users, and it's hard to mimic that precisely in our dev and QA environment when we do a lot of our testing. And so this was one that, thankfully, this doesn't happen very often, where something just couldn't be tested as finely as we would have liked to. So, but we discovered it, we rolled it back, and we were back up and running fine, in a short amount of time. So, and thankfully, again, like I said, front end, your audience could still get to your site. So, you know, annoying from our own end, from the editing environment side of things, but we'll we'll continue to do better and try and keep you guys up to date as much as possible and communicate with you guys as much as possible once things happen. So there's that. Any questions on that? Oh yeah, and I should say actually, humorously enough, people were emailing in and letting us know about that right away, which is great because I mean the attention that the vast majority of you pay to your sites, shows in the fact that like if something's not working right, people are in touch with us right away. Like in the case of like an outage type thing where like you can't log in, something's really broke, like people were chatting me through Teams, and that's where I first noticed it. And then I started to test myself, and then the emails started coming in and things like that, and that's how we knew. So I mean, yeah, like you guys are our lifeblood when it comes to some of that, and so it's greatly appreciated that you are all as communicative with us, communicating with us. You're in touch with us pretty quick, so I appreciate it. We appreciate it. All right. Any questions about that? Go ahead and throw in the chat there. Like I said, it's an ongoing thing where we're trying to make improvements for not only you but also for us. this one backfired a little bit, but we're hoping that we'll figure it out and get it refined and back out in the future. The next UW theme update is coming soon, quote unquote, and we're excited to bring it to you because there are some very neat things that are coming down the road. And again, a lot of these things are, I shouldn't say a lot of these things, a number of these things are um, items that you all have requested through either feature updates or even conversations through the Lunch and Learn or just chats that people have had. Like, we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want. We're a small team, so making everything happen isn't possible, but we try to do as much as we can for that. We're looking into. I mean, did we? I think we're still trying to come up with a date, but I think we're trying to look towards later July. Is that right, Jenna? I don't want to overspeak there, but I thought we were trying to push it out maybe a month.
Yeah, I would say it's likely going to fall in July just because we were initially planning end of June, and it'll likely just go over into July.
Yep. Okay. Like I said, it's nothing other than just again, we want more time to test. We want more time to refine. We want it to be good. We want it to be um, as ready as possible when it goes live. So, okay. Next update is to chat a little bit about um, the email that I sent out. You know what? I've sent a lot of emails to you all over the past couple of weeks, and I apologize for that. But I don't remember when this email came out. I think it was earlier this week. But an update to the embed content conversation that we've been having. So just to kind of reiterate that email a little bit. Several years ago, I want to say roughly 2019, um, we did some updates to WordPress and also to advanced custom fields. Now, advanced custom fields is um, the thing that we use to do this kind of stuff, this editing environment. So, for those of you who are familiar with WordPress, WordPress's editing environment by default looks a lot different than what we use with the UW theme. So, in tune with some of the things that WordPress had done, they had changed the security of the service of the product itself to disallow site editors and site admins the ability to use particular types of code like iframe and script are the two that are most prominent in our mind because they are the two that are most prominent with like embedding things onto your site. So we didn't really think much of that at the time because when it happened, we weren't really certain how many people were actually using this type of stuff. We then did an update to the advanced custom fields shortly thereafter. And then once we did that update, the advanced custom fields started enforcing more of that WordPress security behavior, which meant once we did that update, iframe, script, those types of tags stopped working for people. So at that point, we installed and grandfathered in, we installed a plugin that allowed sites to continue to use those particular types of tags, those iframe tags and script tags, but we created a cutoff point. And at that cutoff point of site IDs, anything moving forward was no longer going to have that option, which for the most part was fine because if you didn't know you didn't have the option, you didn't really know what you were missing. For those of you who like request multiple sites and like it would work in one site and then you would request a new site and it wasn't working in that site, that's where we had to have a little more of a pointed conversation with everybody. But um, we are trying to come more in line with the WordPress security settings and remove that functionality, that script and that iframe functionality, And so essentially, what we want to do is we want to remove that plugin that allowed it and just go basically to the base WordPress abilities. Um, what we have done quite a bit in our own updates is tried to. We have a WiscWeb plugin that we have utilized to allow for certain things to be embedded. So what we have been doing is we have been trying to allow certain types of embeds to go through because of the fact that we know that people use them. So things like um, Google Maps, Google Forms, Google Calendar was another one. Um, Kaltura has iframe stuff that you can strip out. Qualtrics has some iframe stuff that you can strip out. Tableau, for those of you who use Tableau, like data visualization type stuff, there's some of that iframe stuff in there as well. So we've tried to add that stuff um, to our service so that you can still make use of it. You just don't need to have the ability. You don't need that ability to put in iframe and script tags, um, regardless. So that's what's happening. We've tentatively said we want to do this January 2023. Basically, we're giving ourselves that time frame and quite frankly all of you as well so that you can reach out to us and let us know if there are some particular embeds that you're using that either A, our plugin does not allow for. So like if you're one of those older sites and you're using a Google map, but it's using all that iframe code that Google creates for you, what I would say is let's go in and take a look and get that converted over to our version of it so that it can work okay. But if there are some instances where you're using some sort of external data or external content on your site that does make use of the iframe functionality, let's chat so that we can figure out what it is. Honestly, what can we do to help you, or do you just need to link off to it? Because I mean, we had this I can't remember where we had this conversation. The WiscWeb service, like our servers, get hit constantly by, I shouldn't say constantly, regularly, and Phil can probably speak to this more, by various things that create security concerns for us. And we have great security in place to keep, okay, thank you, Phil. Great security in place to keep our service safe. But the more things that we open our service up to outside in the world, the more of a concern that stuff becomes. And things like script tags and iframes, those are things that pull content from external sources. And while all of you may have the best intentions when using that external source, the source that you're pulling that from may not have the best intention or may not have the best security set up on its end. And so, I mean, quite frankly, to just put it bluntly, we need to keep ourselves safe so that we can keep all of your sites safe. And that's really the driving force behind us coming more in line with WordPress's security and setup. So I guess that's just to put that part and have that conversation, and also just to be able to have a little more context to why we're making that decision. I will say, because of the amount of emails I had been sending out, I should have proofread the email that I sent out to everybody a little bit better. The list that went out to all of you does not mean that all of those sites in that list are using any of the embed functions. It's just that that list is the list of sites that exist with the ability to do so. So don't overthink it. You might not use any sort of embedding stuff in your site, and you're good. We're trying to come up with a way to scan sites for that type of information. you know, we want to make it easy. We want to make it, you know, deep enough to where we get all the information we need. Um, but honestly, if you just look at your site and take a quick look through your content, you'll see, okay, what is this? Where is it coming from? Kind of thing. Yeah, what Phil has put in the chat there. We need information from you because we don't have any ability really to yet to scan that stuff. Um, I should also say that in the email, it said the span tag was also going to be one of the things that was going to be removed. I should really reiterate that the span tag by itself. Let me just open up a. Here's a contact page. Let's see what's on here. Um, so the span tag by itself would be stripped out. The reason why the span tag would be stripped out is because it is simply a stylistic option. It's used to create a stylistic option there. Um, so we put it in there because, like, if I just left this like this, it's stripped. It's done. Um, but the moment I start to add in some things like style equals, you know, background color, uh, green. Oops, you guys have to watch me do some CSS here. You know, now it works, and that type of span tag will stay. So the span tag went into that email. It shouldn't have. We just, you know, we misspoke because it was stripping it out because there was no other content to it. Once you added some stylistic content to it, it was fine. So okay, let me go through the questions that are popping up here. Certain things sites frequently embedded that we should look out for, like common things you know won't work. Um, Gosh, that's a hard question because we don't know all the things that people do. We have added the most common ones, honestly. The Google ones, the Tableau ones, the Kaltura ones. Those are the ones that we have found the most requests for. Um, if I search for these embed tags in the search field and found none, that's no, because Adrienne, that is um, uh, when you do a search for that stuff, you're only searching for content that exists within your site, within the pages themselves. These type of tags, these iframe and these script tags, they appear in the code. So they don't appear visibly on the front end. So you wouldn't be able to find that stuff just by doing that stuff. Let's see here. Da, da, da. Will Google Things be allowed? Yes, with a disclaimer to that. So, just to pile on to what Jenna answered a little bit later, yes, Google Things, quote unquote, will be allowed because we already have some of those things allowed in our embed plugin, and I'm sorry, in our WiscWeb plugin. So things like Google Maps, Google Calendar, Google Forms, those will continue to work past our turning off this embed functionality. There are so many different Google services out there that we don't know what people might want to use or might need to use within your site. So that's one of those things where we'll need to hear from you as to whether or not you need to use this. And again, another thing that we always want to sort of stress to people is it's okay to link off to other things as well. Um, so just because we might not allow the use of particular iframe or particular embed of things, you can still link off to those things. So just be aware of that as well. But again, we can try to add all of the things that um, make sense to add from a business standpoint, a business reasoning standpoint. And that's kind of a hard line to draw, because there's nice versus needed. Lots of things are nice, but they take a lot of work, a lot of support, and a lot of upkeep versus needed. So,
Matt, I think there's some
hi,
confusion about what will and will not work. So can you reiterate
I
that
will.
page on the KB? Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just link this particular search in here. So this has everything that falls under the search term of embed. Within there, you'll see the various ways to embed things within your site. And specifically, the things that will continue to work moving forward will be Google Maps, Google Calendar, Google Forms, Qualtrics surveys, Tableau visualization, Kaltura Media, um, yeah. Twitter has its own embed functionality within WordPress. It is not always pretty. So we may look at that one a little bit more. That might be one that I might want to throw into our suggestion box to see if we can make use of the publish. Um, there's a publish.twitter.com functionality that goes into there. Facebook and Instagram are two that get asked pretty often. WordPress themselves stopped allowing for the embedding of things from Facebook and from Instagram because Facebook and Instagram changed the way that their um, APIs, I believe it was, worked, that made it more difficult for WordPress um, to do. I think that's a good starting point, Adrian. I need to review that list um, more closely, but yes, I will say
Matt,
yes with a star next to it. Yeah,
Matt, there's a link up at the top if you scroll up in the KB.
I'm scrolled up.
And then embed options is a top
Aha!
level nav item halfway
Oh,
or like
wait. Oh, there it is. Right. Yeah, I'm looking
nope,
at it
nope.
now. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but it's also in the top level nav. Yeah, thank you for showing that.
Yep.
That's just a little bit more user-friendly way
Yep.
of
There we go.
seeing what is
Yeah.
accommodated already.
Yeah. I put that in
Thank you.
there. Okay. Holy cow! It's 12:45 already. All right. Let me just. So just to reiterate. Okay, this isn't happening soon. We're 6 months out from when we're going to make this change, when we are tentatively going to make this change. I say tentatively because um, Jen and I are very aware of the fact that, like, there are things that we can't anticipate happening. So we would like to do this January 2023. We're going to strongly push to get it done by then. But by no means are we just going to, like, cut the cord and leave you all out to dry, because that would be, well, A, that's just not the way that we work. B, we want to make sure that everyone has had a chance to, as much as we can, to let you all have a chance to review your content, review your information, and get in touch with us to make any changes that might need to be made, or ask questions that might need to be made. So, I know after that email went out, a number of you set up office hour times with me. So, I mean, I'm more than happy to meet with you all, but if I have clarified anything, we don't need to meet, but we can still meet and chat. I'm perfectly okay with that as well. So, but we'll continue to have this conversation. We'll continue to update. We'll continue to chat. Like I said, we do want to find a way to search a site for these types of things, just to make it a little bit easier for us. So, okay. Quick, I shouldn't say quick, but I want to move on just because we do have a few more things that I want to touch on here. So I had talked about it last Lunch and Learn. We did decommission the Google XML sitemap, just to reiterate. For a while, the Google XML sitemap had been removed from the WordPress plugin site. I believe the person who was the developer, the he I think he's still doing development of it, but like support of it and like communications about it are now being handled by a different company. And when things like that start to happen, we get a little itchy in regards to like using a plugin that we're just not certain about like how it's going to be supported, how it's going to be updated, and things like that. So when that started to happen, we decided we were just going to decommission Google XML sitemap and in turn recommend that you all use the Google Search Console functionality and embed your sitemap with Google Search Console to meet those same needs, which is to basically let Google know that your site exists and how to best crawl it. So, and again, we have some documentation out there for that as well. If you just go to our KB and do a search for Search Console, you'll see the various things up there in regards to that. So, Google, events calendar update really quick. I wanted to touch on events calendar. We did update the events calendar plugin last week. No huge changes to the events calendar plugin yet. I'll come back around to that yet soon. One of the big changes that I shouldn't say one of the big changes, the most significant change that I saw over the change logs was they have added now the ability to do more exporting of calendar options. So being able to subscribe to calendars in different ways, including most pointedly the ability to subscribe to a calendar via Outlook, which I think is a pretty big deal for us here on campus because we use Office 365 for our email functionality. So that was the biggest change to events calendar over the past several versions. I know we had chatted about this a lot last year, and then it kind of went quiet. Events calendar 6.0 is still coming. There is no date yet for when that release is. I am looking weekly to find out when it's going to be coming. They are beta testing their newest version. I have that newest version on another environment that I'm going to be working out of because I kind of want to learn as much as I can before they make this change so that I can document things and get out ahead of it as much as I can to provide you guys with like a learn with Matt or something like that to just get ready for it. No date yet as to when 6.0 goes. So we'll stick around for that. Google Analytics updates. We've been having that conversation also over the past several months. Analytics will stop processing the universal analytics um, codes in July 2023. You're all being encouraged to swap over to Google Analytics 4. I have a KB doc out there for that specifically. Throw this in there as well. This is one of those things I think I said last Lunch and Learn. To a certain extent, I want people to not overthink this. You just pick a date when you want to cut the cord, go update to Google Analytics 4 and start collecting data then. The main reason is this is going away in July 2023. The sooner you can move over to Google Analytics 4, the more data you will have collected in GA4 over the next year. The universal analytics data isn't going away right away, but it will be going away. That's one of those little like notes that they put in on another page. So just be aware of that. I am planning on doing a little learning session on June 23rd. I'm going to communicate this out next week. I'll send out an email with like the details. But June 23rd, 2 to 4 p.m. using Zoom, I'm going to do like a learning session to kind of walk through really the process that I've outlined in here and then just answer any questions that people might have in regards to it. And also provide some more guidance. For those of you who know him, Jonathan Dietering, who's on our client engagement team, he did a presentation at the IT Professionals Conference to kind of go over some of the things, some of the more in-depth things that Google Analytics 4 does. I don't want to overwhelm people with stuff, but he does have quite a few resources to help with that. So we'll take a look at that as well during that time frame. Let's see, 12:53. Boy, I never feel rushed at these, and then all of a sudden I do. And then, as many of you undoubtedly are aware, WIS.edu has updated, and so it's now looking new and spiffy and shiny. Lots of things on here. We started to get questions right away. Oh, when is this stuff going to be available in the UW theme? The answer to that is who that we don't know, because this is not a WordPress site, nor is this using the UW theme. It's got lots of cool things in it, lots of things that people have requested and that we are trying to work on. But this isn't the UW theme. This isn't a WordPress site. So I want to make sure that people are aware of of that. Yeah. Linda, so have we. um, I mean, the video. We're aware of it. We're talking about it. We're figuring out what to do with it. We know that videos in the hero area are all right. Tangent. Videos in the hero area, cool. That's really cool. I, we have to make sure that if we were to put this into place, there has to be some ownership on you, the site administrators, um, side of things, because UW marketing and a lot of these sites where you see videos being used, they are high quality videos with people who have created and have the skills to create those videos. Um, that's not always going to be the case for small department in LNS who wants to do something like this but doesn't have the ability to do something like this. And we can't do this for you guys. So it's a great, it's a neat thing. Personally, Matt doesn't find this very compelling. This doesn't do anything for me. Like, I literally land on the page and I just start scrolling down. So I understand that videos are cool, but there is nothing to it for me. Is it accessible? Yes, because of the fact that you do have an action button right here. So a screen reader can get to that action button, and it is something that can be tabbed to as well. It is keyboard accessible. Um, yeah, quality, accessibility. How long is a person staying up at the top of your page? I mean, that's old man Matt shaking his stick at the sky, basically going, "Yeah, video's cool, but I'm honestly on your page and clicking on to something else. I'm not spending however long watching this video up here every time I come to your page." Um, yeah. So, yeah. So that's the biggest question that we've gotten is video. How can we get video on our site? We're talking about it. We're trying to figure it out. We can't promise anything because we have to make sure that we attend to all the things that. Yeah, Phil's right. Lots of opinions.
Matt,
Hi.
we do have a KB doc on video files in the hero area or masthead. It's more so targeted to those who are hosting their own custom UW theme sites.
Oh. Yeah.
But it does offer, so if you go into the KB and type in like video hero,
Yeah, there it is.
it does offer insight into the myriad of accessibility concerns that do exist and how they should be accommodated. That was information that was provided to us from Sandy at the Center for User Experience, who has a wealth of knowledge in this area. And there are a lot of caveats
Yeah.
with offering something like this. Cool technology, but we want to make
Yeah.
sure that we're making things that are accessible and work well. And we have a really broad audience on campus with various technical abilities and needs, and also staffing levels and things like that. So all of those
Yeah.
things are under consideration. But just know that we are looking into it. We are actively working on this, and we'll always update you when we have something available, if
Yeah.
it's a possibility in the future.
Yeah, and like I said, part of it was part of it's personal. Like like was said, I am that meme, old man yelling at cloud on sunny day. Um, but I get it. I do get it. Like know, hot and new is always what people are going to see when they visit websites. Just to reiterate what Brendan was saying, that's kind of one of the things that we do push for when it comes to development cycles is making sure that we can avoid that staleness of the theme, and try and continue to push it to stay modern, use modern code values and modern user experience functionalities. We do push for that stuff, but yeah. Let's see. Okay. I just want to throw a couple of links into the chat real quick. So for those of you who have not yet done it, I did create the WiscWeb UW theme Canvas course. So for those of you who are onboarding people or just want to be able to refer back to that training, it's there. I appreciate anybody who is going to take part in that. For those of you who have done or looked at the Canvas course, I personally would love it if you would fill out the Qualtrics survey and give me some feedback on it so that I can continue to iterate it and improve it. Um, there's lots that I want to do, time, ability, and well, that's basically it, time and ability. Sort of prevent that sometimes. Let's see, WiscWeb support office hours. I'll throw this in here as well, just so you guys have the links there as well. Jenna and I, we do have our office hours, so please feel free to schedule a time with us. Please know that we do have some vacation stuff coming up. At least I do. I don't know if Jenna does. Can't remember. But some of my Fridays are already booked for vacation time. So if I'm available, throw some time on my list. I know some people have run into some issues with using the Doodle poll. It's inconsistent, so I can't ever say whether or not it's on our end or it's on your end, because people are able to book time, but then other people will reach out to me and say they can't. So if you're running into issues with trying to book time on the poll, just reach out to me and we'll schedule something there. Uh, and then last thing I want to throw in is the IT, the design community had a presentation last month. I think it's last month now. Yeah, on color theory. It was a very excellent presentation. For those of you who are familiar with her, Ketter Joyner, who's on our client engagement team, she's done some development in the WiscWeb and the UW theme. She presented quite a bit of stuff in there. It was excellent. I really recommend taking a look at that and just getting a feel for like the way that contrast and accessibility and things like that play into how a site is presented via color. So I went long. I'm usually early. Any closing thoughts, Jenna, before I send
Um,
you away, and I'll
the,
just
the
stick around.
the only thing I can think of is, when we do updates to like the UW theme or add things to the service, we typically email and might link out to a news article on our website. If there's other ways that you'd prefer to be updated with information like this, give us a shout out and let us know um, those ideas so that we can make sure that you're learning about these new features that we're adding and any news with the service. If there's things that other services are doing that you really like, or different ways you'd like to be communicated with, let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay, so I'll call it there. I'll stick around for a little bit if people want to ask questions in the chat there. I'm more than happy to answer, but we'll kind of call it there for this month for June. Um, we will hopefully have one of these in July, hopefully based on whether or not we have theme update. And again, when we do the theme update, I will do a learn with Matt to just kind of walk through like a lot of the changes, how to use the changes, and things like that. Because there is hopefully going to be some new functionality in there that people are going to have to become accustomed to and familiar with. So, all right, thank you everybody. Have a good day, good weekend. Stay dry. Looks like it might rain a little bit, but that's that. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone.